I never thought a simple picnic could unravel my entire world. My name is Hannah, and I've always believed my life with Oliver, my charming, adventure-loving husband, was a safe haven, until today. Under the golden sun, by a serene river bank, surrounded by his closest friends, I felt a touch that wasn't his, heard whispers that shattered every boundary I held dear. My heart raced with a mix of dread and forbidden heat as the forest seemed to close in, hiding secrets I never imagined I'd keep. And just when I thought I'd lost everything, Oliver's gaze met mine with an intensity that stopped time. What did he see in that moment? And what did he mean by the words that followed? Stick around to find out how one afternoon changed us forever. Picture this: a quiet morning, the kind where the world seems to hold its breath just before the sun spills over the horizon. I'm standing in my kitchen, a chipped ceramic mug of coffee in hand, staring out at the dew-kissed grass in our backyard. My name's Hannah, 29 years old, and I've carved out what most would call a perfectly fine life in this sleepy suburban town. The streets are lined with identical houses, each with a manicured lawn and a predictable rhythm. It's safe, it's steady, and sometimes it's suffocating. But then there's Oliver, my husband of 5 years. At 32, he's got this effortless charm that could light up any room, paired with a restless spirit that craves the outdoors. He's the kind of man who can convince you to drop everything for a hike or a spontaneous drive to nowhere, just to chase a sunset. His obsession with picnics, though, those quiet escapes to remote, untouched spots, has become our little ritual. It's where I've seen him at his happiest, sprawled on a blanket with the wind tousling his hair, grinning at me like I'm the only thing that matters. Our relationship, it's warm, it's loving, but I'd be lying if I said it hasn't settled into a kind of comfortable repetition. The same conversations over dinner, the same shows on repeat, the same whispered goodnights. Oliver senses it too, I think. That's why he's always planning these weekend getaways, little bursts of fresh air to shake off the dust of routine. Most of the time, it's just us. Me and him, a blanket under the sun, sharing sandwiches and stolen glances that sometimes linger just long enough to remind us of the heat we used to have. Those moments, they're sacred, even if they've become predictable. But this time, Oliver threw me a curveball. "Let's make it a group thing," he said a few days ago, his eyes bright with an excitement I couldn't quite place. A group picnic. Not just us, but with his 3 closest friends tagging along. I'll admit, my heart sank a little at the idea. I'm not exactly the social butterfly he is. I thrive in small, intimate spaces, not crowded gatherings where I have to force a smile through small talk. Still, I couldn't say no to that look on his face. So, let me tell you about these guys joining us. First, there's Mason, 30 years old, all rugged edges and quiet confidence. He's got this sly grin that makes you wonder what he's thinking, like he's always one step ahead of everyone else. Then there's Ethan, 28, the quiet one. He's intense in a way that's hard to describe, always watching, always taking things in, like he's piecing together a puzzle no one else can see. And finally, Caleb, 31, the loud and lively one. He's the kind of guy who can turn. As the morning unfolded, I found myself piling into Oliver's old pickup truck, the engine rumbling to life with a familiar growl. The windows were rolled down, letting in the crisp, early air as we pulled out of our suburban bubble and headed toward the countryside. The road started to twist and turn, narrow ribbons of asphalt winding through endless fields that eventually gave way to towering pines. The scent of those trees hit me like a wave, sharp and earthy, filling the cab with a kind of wild freshness that made my chest loosen. In the back seat, Mason, Ethan, and Caleb were already in high spirits, their voices overlapping as they dug up old stories from their college days. Their laughter bounced around the truck, loud and unfiltered, tales of late-night escapades and near misses that I only half listened to, caught up in the blur of green outside my window. Oliver, though, he was something else today. His hands gripped the steering wheel with a kind of eager tension, knuckles pale against the worn leather. A wide, almost boyish smile stretched across his face, brighter than I'd seen in weeks. Every so often he'd glance over at me, his hazel eyes catching the sunlight, holding something I couldn't quite decipher. Was it excitement? Anticipation? Or something deeper, something I wasn't privy to? I wanted to ask, but the noise from the guys behind us drowned out any chance for a quiet word. So I just smiled back, letting the moment sit between us like an unspoken question. After what felt like hours of winding roads, we finally pulled off onto a gravel path, the truck crunching to a stop at the edge of a dense forest. I stepped out, my boots sinking slightly into the soft earth, and took in the view. A calm river stretched out before us, its surface glittering like shattered glass under the midday sun. The air was alive with the sound of birds, their calls weaving through the gentle rush of water and the rustle of leaves overhead. It was picture perfect, the kind of place you'd see on a postcard and wonder if it was even real. I breathed it in, feeling the weight of routine slip off my shoulders, if only for a moment. We got to work unloading the truck. I grabbed the large checkered blanket we always used, shaking it out over a patch of soft grass near the riverbank, while Oliver and the guys hauled out the cooler and a small portable grill. Mason passed me a soda as he walked by, his sly grin in full force as he threw me a quick wink. I rolled my eyes but took the can, feeling the cold metal against my palm. Ethan, meanwhile, lingered nearby, his gaze heavy as I bent down to smooth out a corner of the blanket. I caught his stare out of the corner of my eye, a little too long, a little too intent, and felt a prickle of discomfort crawl up my spine. I straightened up quickly, brushing it off as nothing. Then there was Caleb, ever the charmer, tossing out a playful remark as I'm standing near the checkered blanket, the soft grass tickling the edges of my boots as I unpacked the sandwiches from the cooler. The sun is high now, casting dappled light through the canopy of trees, and the river's gentle murmur blends with the distant chirps of birds. It's serene, almost too perfect, and for a moment I let myself sink into the calm. Oliver is a few yards away, kneeling by a small pile of twigs and dry leaves, his broad shoulders hunched as he focuses on starting a fire. His back is to me, completely engrossed in the task, the faint scrape of flint against steel echoing in the quiet. I watch him for a second, the way his hands move with practiced ease, before turning my attention back to the food, arranging it neatly on a paper plate. That's when I feel it, a presence behind me, close, too close. My breath catches as a hand brushes along the back of my neck, fingers tracing a slow, deliberate line against my skin. The touch is unexpected, invasive, sending an icy shiver racing down my spine. I freeze, my hands hovering over the sandwiches, as Mason's low voice slithers into my ear. "Your husband said you're up for some fun." The words hit me like a punch, sharp and disorienting, rooting me to the spot. My mind scrambles, trying to make sense of what he just said. Oliver? My Oliver? There's no way. My heart thuds hard against my ribs, a mix of confusion and shock swirling in my chest as I struggle to find my voice, to turn around, to do anything. Before I can even process it, I feel more hands, Ethan and Caleb, closing in from either side. Ethan's grip is firm on my waist, steady and unyielding, while Caleb's fingers rest lightly on my shoulder, a touch that feels deceptively gentle but carries a weight I can't ignore. I'm surrounded, their presence overwhelming, the air around me suddenly thick and heavy. My thoughts are a chaotic mess, crashing into each other like waves in a storm. This can't be happening. These are Oliver's friends, people I've laughed with over beers at backyard barbecues, people I trusted. The betrayal stings, raw and bitter, cutting deeper than I can put into words. How could Oliver have said something like that? Did he really mean it? Or is this some twisted game they've cooked up? And yet, beneath the shock, beneath the hurt, there's something else. A dark, forbidden flicker of desire I can't seem to stamp out. It's wrong, so wrong. But it's there, curling in the pit of my stomach, warm and insistent. I should pull away. I should scream, shove them off, demand answers. But I don't. My body betrays me, rooted in place as their touches linger, as my skin prickles under their hands. It's like I'm caught in a current, pulled under by a reckless abandon I didn't know I had in me. The forest around us seems to close in, the rustling leaves and distant river sounds masking everything, creating a bubble where nothing else exists. I let myself go, surrendering to the moment in a way that feels both surreal and inevitable. It's a dance of shadows and whispers, a tangle of forbidden heat that I can't or won't resist. My senses are heightened, every brush of contact sending sparks through me, every breath heavy with a mix of guilt and thrill. The guilt is a sharp edge, slicing through the haze, reminding me of Oliver just yards away, oblivious to the storm unfolding behind his back. But the thrill, it's intoxicating. A rush I've never felt before, drowning out the voice in my head that screams for me to stop. It's like I'm outside myself, watching this unfold, unable to reconcile the woman I thought I was with the one I've become in this fleeting, stolen moment. The wilderness around us feels complicit, its vastness swallowing any trace of what's happening. The river's rush blending with the pounding of my own pulse. My skin burns where they touch. A confusing blend of shame and exhilaration twisting inside me. I've crossed a line I never thought I would, and now I have to face the consequences. My heart is still hammering in my chest, a wild, erratic drumbeat that refuses to slow as I stand there, caught in this storm of conflicting emotions. The forest around me feels like it's holding its breath, the rustle of leaves and the distant murmur of the river fading into a muted backdrop. I'm trembling, every nerve in my body alight with a mix of dread and something I can't quite name when I hear it, the crunch of boots on dry leaves, deliberate and slow, coming from the direction of the trees. My breath hitches, and I turn my head just enough to see him. Oliver, my husband. He steps forward from where he must have been standing, half hidden by the shadow of a towering pine. His face is unreadable at first, a mask of stone that sends a fresh wave of panic through me. I brace myself, expecting anger, hurt, maybe even disgust to flash across his features. I'm ready for the storm. I'm sure is coming, the accusations, the betrayal in his eyes. But instead, his gaze locks onto mine, piercing and intense, and his voice cuts through the heavy silence like a blade. Keep going. Those two words hang in the air, sharp and commanding, and I feel my world tilt on its axis. My mind reels, scrambling to process what I've just heard. Keep going? Did he really just say that? I blink, my mouth dry, my thoughts a tangled mess as I try to make sense of it. He's not angry. He's not hurt. He's encouraging this? The realization hits me like a tidal wave, drowning out the noise in my head for a moment. Relief floods through me first, unexpected and overwhelming, washing away the immediate fear of his rejection. But it's quickly followed by confusion, a deep, gnawing uncertainty that claws at my insides. What does this mean? How could he be okay with this? And then, beneath it all, there's something darker, something primal. A flicker of excitement that I can't suppress, no matter how wrong it feels. His words ignite something in me, a dangerous spark that spreads like wildfire through my veins. I feel the heat of it, the pull of it, as the moment continues under his watchful eye. The dynamic has shifted in a way I never could have predicted. Oliver isn't just a bystander, standing there with his arms crossed, his expression still unreadable, but charged with something I can't decipher. No, he's a participant in this twisted game, his presence adding a layer of intensity that makes my skin prickle. I can feel the weight of his gaze, heavy and unrelenting, as it follows every movement, every breath. It fuels the fire inside me, amplifying the rush of sensations that I'm already struggling to contain. The sun beats down on us, its warmth seeping into my skin, a stark contrast to the cool roughness of the grass beneath me as I shift slightly, my fingers curling into the earth for some kind of anchor. The air is thick with the scent of pine and river water, grounding me even as my mind spins out of control. Every touch, every whispered word from Mason, Ethan, and Caleb feels heightened now, like the world has narrowed to just this patch of wilderness, just this moment. My senses are overloaded. The brush of a hand against my arm sends a shiver racing down my spine. The low murmur of a voice near my ear makes my pulse spike. I'm caught in a dance of shadows and heat, a forbidden rhythm that I'm both drawn to and repelled by. And all the while, Oliver watches. His eyes never leave me, and I can feel the intensity of his stare like a physical touch, a silent command that keeps me tethered to this reckless path. It's as if he's orchestrating this, pulling strings I didn't even know existed, and I'm powerless to do anything but follow where he leads. Inside, I'm a storm of emotions, torn in 100 different directions. Shame gnaws at me, a bitter taste in the back of my throat, reminding me of the vows I made, the life we've built together. What am I doing? How did I let myself fall into this? Every fiber of my being screams that I should stop. As the whirlwind of sensations and emotions swirls around me, I'm still reeling from Oliver's words, that sharp command to keep going echoing in my mind like a haunting refrain. My body feels like it's caught in a tempest, every nerve buzzing with a chaotic energy I can't control. I'm sitting now, collapsed onto the checkered blanket, my legs unsteady beneath me, my hair a tangled mess from the intensity of what just unfolded. I'm raw, vulnerable, my breath coming in shallow gasps as I try to piece myself back together. The forest seems to loom closer, the shadows of the trees stretching long and dark across the grass, as if they're witnesses to this moment I can't undo. Then I see him, Oliver, moving toward me. His steps are slow, deliberate, each one crunching softly on the dry leaves scattered across the ground. His shadow falls over the blanket, a looming silhouette that blocks out the sun for a moment, casting a cool shade over my trembling form. My heart skips, uncertainty clawing at me again. What now? What does he think of me after seeing all that? I brace myself, expecting judgment or coldness, but instead, he lowers himself to his knees beside me. His presence is overwhelming, yet there's a tenderness in the way he moves, a gentleness I wasn't prepared for after the storm of moments ago. His hands reach out, soft and careful, pulling me into an embrace that feels like a lifeline in the chaos. The warmth of his arms around me is almost too much to bear. It's familiar, grounding, a stark contrast to the wild heat I just experienced. I can feel the steady rise and fall of his chest against mine, the strength in his hold that tells me he's not letting go. The scent of his cologne, woodsy, with a hint of citrus, wraps around me, a reminder of countless quiet mornings and late-night whispers. It's a scent I've always associated with safety, with home, and yet now it carries a new weight, a new meaning I can't quite grasp. My face presses into the crook of his neck, and I'm suddenly aware of how disheveled I must look, how exposed I feel in this moment. But his grip only tightens, as if to shield me from my own spiraling thoughts. Then he speaks, his voice low and intimate, a soft murmur against my ear that sends a shiver down my spine. Next time, we'll do this under the open sky at night. The words are a quiet promise, laced with a certainty that makes my breath catch. I pull back just enough to process what he said, my mind stumbling over itself. Next time? The implication hits me like a cold wave, washing away the lingering haze of adrenaline. This wasn't a fleeting mistake, a lapse in judgment to be buried and forgotten. No, this is the start of something deliberate, something dangerous. My heart races with a mix of shock and realization, a chilling certainty settling into my bones. Oliver isn't just okay with what happened. He's already planning for more, already envisioning a future where these boundaries we've shattered are no longer boundaries at all. I'm frozen in his embrace, my thoughts a tangled knot of fear and fascination. His words confirm what I'd only half dared to consider, that he's not only complicit, but eager to dive deeper into this uncharted territory. There's a part of me that's terrified, screaming to pull back, to rebuild the walls we've torn down today. What have we done to our marriage? What does this say about us? About me? But there's another part, smaller but undeniable, that's intrigued, drawn to the unknown like a moth to flame. The idea of exploring this further with him, of stepping into this shadowy space together, sends a forbidden thrill through me, even as it scares me to my core. A heavy silence stretches between us after his whispered words. I can hear the faint sounds of Mason, Ethan, and Caleb in the background, packing up the cooler and folding chairs as if nothing earth-shattering has happened. Their voices are distant, casual, a jarring reminder of how the world keeps turning even when mine feels like it's stopped. Oliver. As the day winds down, I find myself climbing back into Oliver's old pickup truck, the familiar creak of the door sounding louder in the heavy stillness that settled over us. The engine growls to life, a low rumble that vibrates through the seat as Oliver takes the wheel, his face set in a quiet intensity that I can't quite read. His hand rests on my thigh, a firm, almost possessive grip that sends a shiver through me, a silent claim that feels both comforting and unsettling after everything that's happened. I don't pull away, though. I can't. My body is still humming with the echoes of the day, my mind a tangled web of thoughts I can't unravel. In the back seat, Mason, Ethan, and Caleb are chatting as if nothing out of the ordinary went down by that riverbank. Their voices are light, casual, tossing around mundane topics like weekend plans and old memories, their laughter cutting through the air like nothing's changed. It's surreal, almost maddening, how they can act so unaffected while I'm sitting here, staring out the window, watching the blur of pines and fields slip by, replaying every moment in my head like a broken record. The countryside rolls past, the golden light of late afternoon casting long shadows across the road, and I can't help but sink deeper into my thoughts. Guilt sits heavy in my chest, a cold weight that presses down with every breath. What I allowed to happen, what I participated in, goes against everything I thought I stood for, everything I thought my marriage was. I keep seeing flashes of it, the way boundaries dissolved under the heat of the moment, the way I let myself be swept away in a current of forbidden desire. And yet, beneath that guilt, there's still a flicker of thrill, a dangerous warmth that lingers in my veins, refusing to be snuffed out. I hate that it's there, hate that I can't shake it, but it's real. A part of me I didn't know existed until today. Then there's the fear, sharp and gnawing, of what next time will bring, especially under the open sky at night as Oliver promised. The thought sends a chill down my spine, a mix of dread and curiosity twisting together until I can't tell one from the other. What are we stepping into? What does this mean for us, for the life we've built? The ride home stretches on, the silence between Oliver and me growing thicker with every mile. His hand stays on my thigh, a constant reminder of his presence, of the unspoken shift between us. I steal a glance at him, catching the hard line of his jaw, the way his eyes are fixed on the road ahead, and I wonder what's going through his mind. Is he wrestling with the same storm of emotions I am? Or is he already at peace with this new path we've stumbled onto? I want to ask, to break through the wall of quiet that's risen up, but the words stick in my throat. Instead, I turn back to the window, letting the hum of the engine and the distant chatter from the back seat fill the void. When we finally pull into our driveway, the familiar sight of our suburban home feels like a mirage, a piece of a life that doesn't quite fit anymore. The guys pile out, grabbing their gear from the truck bed, their goodbyes quick and casual as they head to their own cars. I linger by the passenger door, watching them go, feeling like I'm standing on the edge of something I can't name. Oliver and I don't speak much as we unpack the cooler and blankets, moving through the motions of normalcy like actors in a play. But there's a charged energy between us, an electric undercurrent that hums beneath every glance, every brush of our hands as we pass items back and forth. It's as if the air itself is holding its breath, waiting for one of us to acknowledge the unspoken truth of what today has done to us. We don't, though. We carry on, folding the checkered blanket with mechanical precision, setting the cooler by the garage door, each action a silent agreement to pretend, at least for now, that everything is the same. Inside, the house feels both familiar and strange, a reminder of the normalcy that has been disrupted. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.